Hello, I'm Jamila Musayeva, an international etiquette consultant, author of etiquette books and pre-recorded online courses. In today's video, I'm going to talk about 7 powerful body language movements that you can learn to make you look more confident and elegant. So if you're probably watching this video, you are familiar with the phrase that it only takes about 7 seconds to make the first impression, but actually the latest study from Princeton University suggests that it takes about even less than that, so 1/10 of a second to make the first impression, and that first impression is usually based on the overall appearance and body language. Actually, there was a study that was done by Professor Albert Mehrabian where he calculated about 55% of the first impression, or the way people perceive us, is through body language, and only 7% is the verbal message. So actually what we say, majority of the impression is made on the body language, our tone and voice. So understanding that the first impression is so much dependent on the body language and the way we appear, we have to understand what are some things that we can learn in order to make the first best impression. You have probably also heard the phrase, you never get a second chance to make the first impression. Sometimes the first impressions can be reversed, but it takes some time. Why not make the best of the first impression that we can and step out into the world representing ourselves in the best possible light? So let's get into 7 techniques that we can adopt in order to make the best first impression. But of course, the true confidence is not just about how you move or how you stand. It really has to come from within. And no poised body language can really help you look or feel confident if you're mentally and emotionally struggling. I'm so pleased that for today's video, I have partnered with BetterHelp, who's the paid partner for today's video. BetterHelp is an online platform that connects credentialed therapists from all around the world at the comfort of your own home. My favorite part about BetterHelp is that it's such an easy platform to use. You have to fill out the questionnaire, you get matched with your therapist, and if you don't feel like the therapist is the right one for you, you can ask to get a different therapist and you'll be matched with another one until you find the one that works for you, which has been such a tremendous change in my therapy sessions until I found the one that worked for me. I also love the fact that you can access it from anywhere and everywhere in the world. As long as you have a good Wi-Fi, you can have your therapy at the comfort of your own home, on your couch, without getting up to go and see your therapist anywhere. And they also have a journal inside where you can write out your thoughts, and even group sessions that you can join with people that are probably going through the same thing as you are, so you get their emotional support from people that have gone through the same things that you do or are currently going through the same thing. If you would like to try it, visit betterhelp.com/Jamila, which you can find in the description box below, to get 10% off of your first month of therapy. Now let's get into the body language techniques that can help you embody elegance and quiet confidence into any room that you walk into. The very first technique that I teach all my students that I'm teaching business etiquette or diplomatic protocol, particularly to people that have to speak in front of a large crowd, step on a stage, walk into an auditorium full of people, is you don't just straight away walk from the hallway right into the room. You do this little technique called pause, look, walk in. Why you need to take a pause before you step in is because you have to visualize the stage. You have to take a look at the stage, at the crowd, and then visualize how you're stepping into that stage, onto that stage, how you're walking into that room. It also allows you a moment to reflect and to breathe in and breathe out, and to project this image of yourself delivering the message in a very right way, or feeling confident, feeling, energetic. So this technique allows you to look more confident because you're not rushing, you're really taking the command of time, you're really taking the moment to step onto the stage or walk into the room. And second, it allows you to visualize how you're going to be basically placing yourself in that room or in that auditorium or onto that stage. So you can practice it if you are going into the business meeting, if you need to meet a client, or you're walking into an interview room. Is you take a pause before you step in, breathe in, breathe out, look at where you're stepping, and then you walk in. This also shows people that you're not in a rush and you have the full command of time and full command of your body language as you enter. The second body language movement that will make you look more confident and relaxed is the movement of your feet. And that is something that speaks volumes about how we feel. If you pay attention to the placement of the foot of people, you can tell if they want to stay where they are, if they want to escape the place where they are, if they're feeling anxious, because our body posture depends a lot on how we place our feet. So when you place your feet 45 degrees slightly outward, so not like both feet facing the other person, but one slightly outward, and you basically shift your weight onto the other feet. It gives your body posture a little bit of more relaxation. You don't look like you're too tensed up and you're really, you're so nervous and anxious to be. It gives you, the shift of weight allows you to relax your body a bit more, which makes you look more relaxed, which in turn makes you look more confident, because confidence sometimes is synonymous with feeling comfortable, with feeling relaxed. So whenever we feel like there's nothing that stresses out, people immediately feel like you feel comfortable and confident in the room. So we can use this body language technique by placing our feet slightly outward 45 degrees when standing and talking to someone. You can also observe this when you're watching people at fashion shows. When they want to look more relaxed, they'll lean backwards, so sort of relaxed, having one foot outward. So we can incorporate these body movements in order to make our body feel more relaxed, which in turn will make other people think that we are feeling super confident. The third body language movement that we can incorporate to make ourselves look more relaxed, more confident, is making sure that we expose our wrists as well as we have our palms open to the person that we're communicating, or to people that we're communicating to. This is something that subconsciously translates to other people that we have nothing to hide, that we are open book, that we are someone that is trustworthy, reliable, we're so at ease, we don't have sweaty palms, we're not trying to hide something, we're really super comfortable around you, and hence will look confident. And exposing our palms, so if you're talking to someone, you can leave your hands open like that, your palms open like that. If you are at the table, at a dinner table, if you don't want to place obviously your elbows at the table, you leave your hands on the forearm, so your forearms basically on the edge of the table, with talking with your palms open, exposing your wrists, so the person that is looking at you gets to see your wrist as well as your open palm. Another thing that I've seen a lot of men do, especially in business meetings, as soon as they feel more relaxed, that they're ready to negotiate and really open for it, you'll see them roll their shirt upwards, so they're exposing their wrists and opening up their arms to the person that they're negotiating with. You can pick up on these cues by observing how other people do it, and really try to notice if these things make you feel like that person feels relaxed and comfortable and confident. So this is something we do perhaps unconsciously, but this is something we can incorporate consciously into our movements, so that in turn will translate confidence and calmness and ease and trustworthiness and likability. So all these words that we want to be associated with. The fourth important body language movement that translates into confidence or comfort and easiness, elegance, is obviously using hand gestures, using them moderately, appropriately, intentionally, because using hand gestures allows the person that is listening to you to better understand your message. Imagine if you have really stiff arms, you have closed your palms and you're talking like that, most likely you will lose people's attention. Some people might think you're hiding something, you're not someone to be trusted, because they can't see your hands, they can't see your palms. So whenever you have open palms and visible hand gestures that are, and this is where the importance comes, are at the level of eyesight. So I would say anywhere between your chest and your belly area. So your hand gestures should be at this level, your chest, mid-belly, nothing below than that, because if you are putting your hands below that, it looks like you're hiding something, your hands are not visible. Hence, if I can't see your hands, what are you hiding there? It's subconsciously we think there's a danger there, the person's not feeling comfortable with us, they're feeling nervous, they're trying to hide something. And any hand gesture or movement that goes above your shoulder, so up in the air, it also translates into, this message of being agitated, nervous, angry. So whenever we raise our hands above our shoulder level, or we put it below our belly level, it looks like we're hiding something or we're too angry. So if you want to communicate confidence and elegance, you'll use your hand gestures appropriately at your mid-chest area, so somewhere in between here at an eye level of the person you're communicating with. The next body language movement that I teach to a lot of my students, especially when I'm teaching elegance, and that has to do obviously with confidence and elegance, is making your movements intentional and slow. And one of those slowing down movements is following the noise first with your eyes and then with your head. What I mean by that, if someone calls out your name out in a public, you're not sure if they called you or someone else. Instead of immediately turning your head around to see if it was you who was called, you first follow the noise with your gaze. So if you heard the noise coming from the other side, you'll just follow with your eyes and then only after turn your head. This slowing down comes with awareness to your body language. You have to make it intentional that first you follow with your gaze and then your head, because our initial response is to turn our head and see where the noise is coming from. Slow down. First follow with your eyes and then only turn your head. When you are doing that, immediately whoever is calling you or whoever is watching you feels like you have a command of your body language and you're really feeling confident and comfortable with taking your time to respond rather than being super reactive. The sixth body language movement obviously has to do with eyes, because we can't talk about confidence and elegance without touching on a point of eyes. I think eyes alone deserve a separate video, the art of eye contact, and how much eye contact makes a tremendous difference in the way people perceive us or feel about us, because it's not a coincidence that people say eyes never lie and that eyes are windows to our soul, because so much can be said through an eyesight, so much could be said in the way we look at the other person, and there's so many things we can take control of, like our hands, our feet, the way we posture our body, the way we move our head, but it's not that much that we can do with the way that our eyes look, because our pupils, they dilate based on the hormones that we produce that we can not really control. It really depends on our mood and how we feel. You can definitely tell when someone is depressed by looking at in their eyes, even though the rest of the behavior might be, screaming that I'm happy. With that being said, one of the most important things that I teach in my classes, especially to people that are not feeling comfortable and confident in making eye contact with other people when they're nervous, if it's a business meeting, if it's an interview or meeting in-laws, is if there's one person you have to look at, of course it's very difficult to break that eye contact because you have to, make sure that you're giving the attention to the person you're talking to. What I then suggest, if you have trouble making an eye contact, what you can do, instead of looking into the eye, you'd be looking somewhere in the middle section between the eyebrows, because when we look into that section, it might give an illusion that we're looking into the eye without actually looking into the eye. It works. You can practice it at home with someone, with your friend, with your sibling, and say what they think you're looking at. But if there is usually a room of people, let's say you're giving a lecture in front of a crowd, or it's a room of interviewers and there are like 12 people there, then I always suggest splitting the room or the number of people into groups of 3 and interchangeably looking at each group. So instead of fixing your gaze at one person, you just interchangeably look into the room, into section A, B, say C, or you're looking at a group of interviewers 1, 2, and 3. By breaking the eye contact, it allows you to not fixate first on one person, which might look a bit threatening if you're only looking at one person, but also it allows you to feel more comfortable by spreading basically your gaze to the entire room rather than looking at one person. And if you see that, say, one of the people that you're looking at is not giving you a good facial expression, you can always switch your attention to group B or say C and mostly look into the group that makes you feel more comfortable talking to. So this is something that you can practice at home with your friends and family, but as soon as you get comfortable doing it in the realm of your own home, you'll get more comfortable by doing it with other people that are, and even in larger groups. And the last important body language movement that we have to be aware of in order to look more confident and more elegant and poised is knowing what to do with our hands. This is probably the most frequently asked question I get in my business etiquette workshops, as well as diplomatic protocol, when people are meeting people of higher status and they're nervous and they don't know what to do with their hands. So they're either fidgeting or have their hands in a pocket, trying to hide their hands in sweaty palms. Never ever do that. Your hands should be always out, never in your pockets, never fidgeting. If you are touching your hair, touching your jewelry, if you are, trying to occupy your hand in one way or another to make you look less nervous, you actually make yourself more visible with those hand movements. The less movements you have, the more you look confident and like you have a command of your body. So if you are especially listening, not talking, because when you're talking, you want to use intentional open hand gestures when you're communicating so that your palms and hands are visible so people can trust you. But if you're listening and you don't know what to do with your hands, the best way is to place them on your lap together like that, or you can interlock your hands like that, thumbs together, keep your hands together. This way you ground yourself, you are not fidgeting, you stop yourself from touching your hair or your jewelry or your tie, whatever you feel like you want to touch. So you keep yourself more calm and you look more at ease because your hands are still on your body. You don't look restless. Of course, it takes a lot of practice to incorporate those body language movements and make them your second nature. But like anything we are trying for the very first time, it takes practice to make it perfect, and it takes practice to make it our second nature. These are easy techniques that you can learn at the comfort of your own home, and make sure that you make the best first impression. Thank you so much for watching this video until the very end. I hope that you liked it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up so I know what kind of video you like watching. And if you're interested to learn more in depth about etiquette, you can get my books that are available for international shipment online on my website. You can also join my 2 pre-recorded online etiquette courses available on my website. Both of them give you a certificate of completion, and if you want to learn even more depth about etiquette and join my Patreon exclusive club, you can do so. Every month I do an etiquette review of different kind of movies. So far I've analyzed over 40 different movies from Hollywood to Western to independent, and by joining my Patreon etiquette movie club now, you can have access to all those movie reviews. Thank you so much for watching this video until the very end, and I hope to see you in my next one. Bye!